From 1987 to 1995, Full House warmed hearts with its blend of family-friendly humor, life lessons, and unforgettable characters. Set in San Francisco, the show followed the Tanner family and their close-knit circle through the ups and downs of everyday life, creating moments that fans still cherish decades later. Its cast became beloved household names, bringing both laughter and comfort to millions. But over the years, some of the talented actors who made Full House so special have sadly passed away. In this tribute, we remember their lives, honor their legacy, and celebrate the joy they brought to generations of viewers. Bob Saget was born on May 17, 1956, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and stepped into the role of Danny Tanner in Full House, 1987, at age 31, instantly embodying the meticulous, loving, and slightly neurotic widowed father struggling to raise 3 daughters alongside his brother-in-law and best friend. Danny's wholesome, caring, and often comically obsessive persona contrasted sharply with Saget's off-screen life, which was marked by his audacious, raunchy stand-up routines that shocked audiences accustomed to his TV image. Saget's childhood was shaped by a strict Catholic upbringing, with 2 sisters, one of whom tragically died from scleroderma, leaving an indelible mark on his emotional development. He navigated teasing and the pressure of conforming to societal expectations, which honed his sharp wit but also seeded a lifelong struggle with private grief and coping mechanisms. Personal tragedies defined much of Saget's journey. The deaths in his family, combined with career pressures and periods of substance misuse, forced him to confront vulnerability and mortality early. Professionally, he faced typecasting after Full House, with critics questioning whether his edgy stand-up persona could survive the shadow of his beloved TV father. Despite these challenges, Saget continued to reinvent himself, balancing stand-up tours, television hosting, and philanthropic work, particularly advocating for scleroderma research in honor of his sister. His private life involved strained romantic relationships and navigating fatherhood under public scrutiny, but he maintained close bonds with his daughters. Tragically, he died unexpectedly on January 9, 2022, at 65 from blunt head trauma caused by an accidental fall in his hotel room. At death, his net worth was estimated at $50 million, accrued through decades in television, stand-up, and hosting America's Funniest Home Videos. Saget's legacy endures not only in his portrayal of Danny Tanner but in his fearless comedic explorations, resilience through grief, and cultural imprint as a performer who could balance innocence and irreverence with unflinching honesty. Yvonne Wilder was born Yvonne Othen on September 21, 1937, in New York City and joined Full House in 1988 at age 51, portraying Irene Katsopoulos, the strong-willed, proud Greek mother of Jesse. On screen, Irene was nurturing, firm, and traditional, often challenging modern parenting and instilling cultural pride, leaving a lasting impression on audiences for her authenticity and grounded demeanor. Wilder's early life was shaped by her New York upbringing during the Depression era, where she experienced financial scarcity, societal constraints as a young woman, and the challenges of entering the performing arts amidst widespread gender bias. These experiences fostered resilience, determination, and a subtle defiance that later informed both her acting and creative pursuits. Off-screen, Wilder endured personal trials that shaped her trajectory, the pressures of maintaining a career in Hollywood, navigating a male-dominated industry, and coping with the loss of peers and shifting professional opportunities. Her career highlights included roles in West Side Story and Seems Like Old Times, co-writing a vampire film, and later devoting herself to painting and sculpting, marking a pivot toward artistic self-expression as a refuge from industry pressures. Wilder maintained a fiercely private personal life, with few publicly known romantic entanglements, but colleagues noted her wit, mentorship, and unapologetic embrace of creativity. She passed away on November 24, 2021, in Los Angeles at 84. At death, her net worth was modest, likely under $1 million, reflective of a career built on character work and artistic pursuits rather than mainstream commercial success. Her legacy endures in her ability to infuse depth into supporting roles, her quiet resilience in navigating Hollywood's shifting landscape, and the untold stories of a woman who transformed personal adversity into a lifelong devotion to art and culture. John Aprea was born on March 4, 1944, in Englewood, New Jersey, and appeared as Nick Katsopoulos in Full House in 1988 at age 44, portraying Jesse's proud, old-fashioned father. Nick was the embodiment of traditional Greek-American values, stern yet sentimental, deeply devoted to family, and often serving as the moral anchor of the Katsopoulos household. Aprea's childhood was shaped by working-class roots, the expectations of a culturally rich Greek-American community, and experiences of modest means and parental strictness that instilled discipline, pride, and resilience. Off-screen, Aprea navigated personal hardships, including multiple divorces, the strain of balancing long-term relationships with a demanding acting career, and the psychological pressures of public visibility in a competitive industry. Professionally, he built a reputation as a reliable character actor, with credits in The Godfather Part II and numerous soap operas, yet faced recurring typecasting in periods of professional uncertainty, requiring adaptability and perseverance. Aprea's personal and professional life intersected in moments of challenge, managing fame without compromising family connections, addressing the emotional impact of marital strain, and sustaining a career that demanded both versatility and reliability. He passed away on August 5, 2024, in Los Angeles at 80 from natural causes. His net worth was estimated at $1.5 million, derived from decades of consistent work in television and film. Aprea's legacy is defined by the depth and authenticity he brought to paternal roles, his commitment to his craft, and the cultural imprint of his performances, reflecting the intricate balance of tradition, family devotion, and artistic dedication in an ever-evolving entertainment landscape. Richard Paul was born on June 6, 1940, in Los Angeles, California, and in 1988, at age 47, he appeared in Full House as Mr. Strobridge, the composed yet slightly exasperated television station manager where Danny Tanner worked. Mr. Strobridge's calm professionalism often clashed with the chaos of Danny and his co-hosts, offering viewers a subtle counterbalance to the family's comedic turbulence, yet behind the scenes, Paul's life bore complexities that belied his on-screen steadiness. Born into a modest family in Los Angeles, he experienced early exposure to the competitive pressures of the entertainment world, compounded by the lingering effects of post-war economic uncertainty and the emotional distance of a father who valued success over affection, shaping Paul into a quietly ambitious, intellectually curious individual. His personal life was marked by a profound commitment to philanthropy, particularly in mental health advocacy and animal welfare, yet tragedy struck in the 1990s as he faced the gradual decline of his health due to cancer, a disease that challenged him both physically and emotionally, instilling a heightened urgency in his work and charitable efforts. Professionally, Paul's trajectory was steady but often overshadowed by the prominence of other character actors. He navigated periods of career stagnation and fleeting roles with resilience, using these setbacks as opportunities to mentor younger actors and deepen his craft, demonstrating a stoicism that mirrored his early upbringing. Despite a life largely devoid of public scandal, Paul's internal struggles and the quiet grief of witnessing friends and peers succumb to illness revealed a depth often unseen by audiences. He passed away on December 25, 1998, at 58, leaving behind a modest net worth likely under $1 million, but a legacy enriched by compassion, mentorship, and a dedication to meaningful character work that quietly influenced the industry and inspired those who knew him personally. Marcia Wallace was born on November 1, 1942, in Creston, Iowa, and at age 45, she joined Full House in 1993 as Mrs. Carruthers, the eccentric, exuberant, and unforgettable school librarian whose over-the-top antics enlivened classroom scenes and left an indelible impression on audiences. Mrs. Carruthers' blend of humor, absurdity, and maternal care highlighted Wallace's flair for combining comedic timing with human warmth, yet behind her on-screen vivacity lay a history of personal challenges that shaped her resilience and empathy. Raised in a modest Midwestern household, Wallace confronted early experiences of social scrutiny, body image pressures, and family instability, which fueled her determination to succeed while masking deep insecurities that accompanied her into adulthood. Her professional career, though decorated with acclaim, most notably voicing Edna Crabapple on The Simpsons and earning an Emmy, was punctuated by private struggles with bulimia, grief, and the demands of single motherhood, which often left her balancing the intensity of performance with emotional exhaustion. Wallace endured breast cancer in the 1980s, a battle that transformed her into a fervent advocate for early detection and public health awareness, channeling her personal hardship into a larger social mission. She faced occasional industry frustrations and personal setbacks but maintained a commitment to her craft and advocacy, often using humor to navigate pain and inspire colleagues. Wallace passed away on October 25, 2013, in Los Angeles at age 70 due to pneumonia and sepsis, with breast cancer a contributing factor. At her death, her net worth was estimated around $3 million, a reflection of her prolific contributions to television, voice acting, and stage work. Her legacy endures in her memorable performances, her advocacy for health and wellness, and the candid revelations of her autobiography, which offered an unvarnished glimpse into the vulnerabilities and triumphs behind a beloved public persona. Alice Herson was born on March 10, 1929, in New York City, and in 1987, at age 58, she portrayed Claire Tanner in Full House, the wise, nurturing, and emotionally stabilizing mother of Danny Tanner. Claire's gentle presence provided a backbone of comfort and guidance following the tragic loss of Danny's wife, and Herson imbued the role with subtle strength, grounding the show's more chaotic elements with grace and maternal authority. Herson's upbringing in an urban, culturally diverse environment exposed her early to both privilege and precarity, as she navigated a family marked by complex social expectations and the challenges of a rapidly changing mid-20th century America, instilling resilience, adaptability, and a deep emotional intelligence that would later inform her nuanced performances. Personal tragedies punctuated her life. The death of her husband, actor Stephen Elliott, in 2005, was a profound loss that echoed earlier familial challenges, reinforcing a lifetime of managing grief while maintaining professional commitment. Her career spanned decades, including prominent roles in Dallas, Ellen, and Seventh Heaven, yet Herson often faced industry biases against older women, requiring her to continually assert her value and versatility in a business that prized youth and novelty. She responded to these challenges by embracing a mix of stage and television work, mentoring younger actors, and maintaining an unwavering dedication to craft, demonstrating a quiet but formidable resilience that paralleled her on-screen persona. Herson passed away on February 14, 2025, in Los Angeles at age 95 from natural causes. Her net worth was estimated at approximately $2 million, derived from a lifetime of steady television and stage work, leaving behind a rich artistic legacy marked by versatility, emotional depth, and the enduring impression of maternal wisdom that influenced both audiences and peers, with untold stories of perseverance, professionalism, and personal fortitude remaining part of her enduring imprint on the industry. James Hampton was born on July 9, 1936, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and at age 51, he joined Full House in 1989 as Mr. Malatesta, the delightfully eccentric driving school owner whose scatterbrained manner brought levity to DJ and Kimmy's teenage storylines. On screen, Hampton imbued Malatesta with a comic timing and subtle warmth that resonated with audiences, making him memorable despite limited screen time. Hampton's childhood was defined by the lingering hardships of the Great Depression and a strict, disciplined household that demanded self-reliance and stoicism. As a young boy, he often hid his feelings of inadequacy and shyness behind humor and creative imagination, learning early that emotional control and persistence were essential to navigate a challenging world. Professionally, he faced frequent obstacles. Typecasting threatened to pigeonhole him into side roles, and opportunities for more substantial characters sometimes slipped through studio politics or contract disputes. Personal tragedies further shaped his life, most notably the gradual onset of Parkinson's disease, which slowly affected his mobility and speech, challenging his identity as a performer and requiring immense resilience. Despite these hardships, Hampton remained committed to acting and directing, mentoring younger talent, and taking roles that satisfied his creative instincts rather than purely commercial interests. He also quietly pursued voice work and occasional teaching, maintaining relevance in an industry often unforgiving to aging character actors. Hampton passed away on April 7, 2021, in Fort Worth, Texas, at age 84, leaving behind a net worth estimated at $14 million, including residuals, directing credits, and property holdings. His legacy is not only in his tangible wealth but in the enduring humor, humanity, and dedication he brought to every role, illustrating how perseverance and artistic integrity can leave a lasting cultural imprint, even when one's name never headlines marquee billing. Luis Avalos was born on September 2, 1946, in Havana, Cuba, and at age 43, he appeared in Full House in 1989 as Mr. Santana, the kind and patient schoolteacher whose presence brought authenticity, cultural depth, and gentle humor to classroom scenes. Mr. Santana's character became a conduit for values of mentorship, empathy, and intellectual curiosity, reflecting Avalos's own dedication to nurturing talent and promoting arts education. Avalos's upbringing in post-revolutionary Cuba was fraught with political turmoil, economic instability, and social discrimination that shaped his resilience, resourcefulness, and cautious optimism. As a child, he experienced periods of scarcity and cultural dislocation, often masking insecurities behind charm and performance. Professionally, Avalos faced systemic barriers as a Latino actor in Hollywood, with roles often limited in scope and frequency, and at times he encountered dismissive attitudes or stereotyping that frustrated his ambitions. His personal life was marked by both triumph and quiet sorrow. He invested deeply in community arts initiatives, founded the America's Theater Arts Foundation to support Latin American drama, and served as a mentor to emerging actors, yet he endured heartbreak in observing peers' struggles with prejudice and industry inequities. Avalos's health challenges, culminating in heart failure, were compounded by decades of dedicated work and emotional investment in the arts, reflecting a life of commitment but also sacrifice. He passed away on January 22, 2014, in Burbank, California, at age 67, leaving behind a modest net worth likely under $1 million, including earnings from acting, theater projects, and charitable endeavors. Beyond financials, his cultural impact resonates through mentorship, the elevation of Latinx representation in performance, and the lasting impression of warmth, intelligence, and advocacy he left on audiences and colleagues alike, cementing a legacy of artistic and social significance that transcends fame or fortune. Don Hood was born on November 25, 1940, in Marks, Mississippi, and at age 47, he appeared in Full House in 1991 as Kenneth Donaldson, a formal, reserved figure whose composed presence lent weight and subtle gravitas to adult storylines, balancing the chaotic humor of the Tanner household. Donaldson's character resonated with viewers as a voice of reason, demonstrating dignity, discretion, and understated authority. Hood's formative years were shaped by the systemic racial tensions, economic deprivation, and social strictures of the Mississippi Delta, exposing him to early hardship, inequality, and personal loss, all of which nurtured a quiet resilience and reflective sensibility that informed his craft. Professionally, Hood built a long career in supporting roles, often navigating the challenges of typecasting, industry favoritism, and limited visibility. He faced personal trials, including the deaths of close family members and chronic health struggles, particularly later in life, yet remained steadfast in his dedication to acting and mentorship of colleagues. His approach to performance was methodical, serious, and deeply respectful of the craft, leading to occasional behind-the-scenes friction when his standards clashed with co-stars or directors. Hood passed away on March 20, 2003, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at age 62, from heart failure, leaving a modest net worth likely under $1 million, comprised of residuals, small investments, and personal property. His enduring legacy lies not in celebrity or fortune but in the gravitas, consistency, and depth he brought to every supporting role, influencing the tonal and emotional balance of productions, and demonstrating the often unsung value of character actors whose artistry quietly shapes storytelling in film and television. Lois Nettleton, born on August 16, 1927, in Oak Park, Illinois, appeared in Full House in 1987 at age 60 as Nedra Donaldson, the elegant and emotionally layered mother of Danny Tanner's late wife. On screen, Nedra exuded dignity, warmth, and a quietly grieving presence that added poignant depth to the show's family dynamic, offering a subtle contrast to the sitcom's lighter humor while resonating with audiences who had faced loss. Nettleton grew up in a middle-class Midwestern household, navigating the cultural pressures of post-Depression America, where women were often expected to prioritize family over ambition. She channeled early feelings of constraint and the need to prove herself into her craft, masking insecurities behind charm and talent. Her personal life was marked by both triumph and turmoil. Her marriage to humorist Gene Shepard ended in heartbreak, leaving emotional scars, while she faced the demanding volatility of Hollywood, including competitive casting battles and the pressures of sustaining a career across theater, television, and film. Nettleton overcame these challenges by embracing complex dramatic roles, earning 2 Daytime Emmy Awards, and cultivating a reputation for professionalism, versatility, and emotional authenticity that enabled her to maintain steady work despite ageism and industry biases. She continued acting until her later years, confronting lung cancer privately, demonstrating resilience and dedication to her art. Nettleton died on January 18, 2008, in Woodland Hills, California, at age 80 from lung cancer. Her net worth was estimated at $1.5 million, including residuals, property, and performance royalties. Her legacy encompasses both the tangible, her memorable performances, awards, and financial prudence, and the intangible, the nuanced portrayals of grief, strength, and dignity she brought to American television, inspiring actors and audiences alike and leaving behind untold stories of perseverance in the face of personal and professional adversity. Jack Crushon, born on March 20, 1922, in Winnipeg, Canada, appeared in Full House in 1990 at age 68 as Iorgos Papoulis Katsopoulos, Jesse's cherished Greek grandfather. Papoulis was warm, wise, and joyfully connected to his cultural roots, providing comic relief, familial wisdom, and emotional resonance in the memorable episode The Last Dance, leaving audiences with a profound appreciation for intergenerational bonds. Crushon grew up in a working-class family in Canada during the interwar period, experiencing both financial hardship and subtle social prejudices that shaped his empathy, resilience, and ability to convey depth and authenticity in character work. His career included an Oscar nomination for The Apartment and decades of work across film, television, and radio, yet it was not without obstacles. He faced typecasting, the loss of his second wife, and periods of health decline, all while maintaining the demanding schedule of a working actor and adjusting to Hollywood's shifting landscape. Off-screen, he balanced personal grief with professional discipline, mentoring younger actors, and cultivating strong familial connections. Crushon's private life was marked by quiet fortitude. Though scandal-free, the emotional toll of personal losses and professional pressures was significant, influencing the gravitas he brought to every role. He died on April 2, 2002, in Chandler, Arizona, at age 80 of natural causes. His net worth, estimated at $2 million, reflected residuals, investments, and decades of work, while his enduring legacy lies in both the tangible contributions to screen and stage and the intangible imprint of warmth, cultural pride, and intergenerational wisdom that continues to resonate with audiences, offering lessons in perseverance, humor, and human connection. Andre Rosie Brown, born on February 7, 1956, in Rockford, Illinois, appeared in Full House in 1993 at age 37 as Weeb, a memorable bodyguard whose physical presence and comedic timing left an indelible mark despite the brevity of his role. Brown's upbringing in a working-class Midwestern family was shaped by strict discipline, social challenges, and early exposure to adversity, which forged both his imposing stature and his sharp intuition for human behavior. Before acting, he served as a police officer, gaining first-hand experience with danger, social inequality, and psychological stress, insights that he channeled into his on-screen portrayals of tough, morally grounded characters. His Hollywood career, while punctuated by roles in Throw Mama from the Train and Barbed Wire, was intermittently challenged by typecasting, industry volatility, and the physical demands of performing as a towering figure in stunt-heavy or combat-oriented roles. Off-screen, Brown was deeply committed to mentoring youth, coaching football, and supporting his community, demonstrating a compassion that contrasted with his intimidating screen persona. His life, however, was tragically cut short when he died on July 18, 2006, in Northridge, California, at age 50 from a brief illness, leaving behind a modest net worth, likely under $1 million, including acting earnings, coaching, and small investments. Brown's legacy is both tangible, through memorable performances, mentorship, and community engagement, and intangible, encompassing the lessons of resilience, generosity, and the quiet heroism of a man who leveraged his strength and stature to positively impact others, offering untold stories of compassion and courage behind a formidable screen image. Michelle Nicastro was born on March 31, 1960, in Washington, D.C., and appeared as Roxana in Full House in 1987 at age 27, a flirtatious, sunlit presence aboard the Tanner family's sea cruise episode whose smile and soprano left a brief but vivid mark on the show. On-screen Roxana seemed like the easy, romantic foil every sitcom needs, but the woman behind the role carried far deeper currents. Nicastro grew up the daughter of Carol Rose Guarino and Dr. Norman J. Nicastro, the latter an ophthalmologist, and though she benefited from cultural exposure, she was not immune to pressure. The middle-class, Italian-American upbringing pushed her toward achievement and perfection, and she had insecurities behind rigorous musical training from childhood. Those early piano and voice lessons became refuge and weapon. They launched a career that saw her originate Eponine in the Los Angeles production of Les Miserables and win acclaim on stage, yet the road was jagged, replacements, canceled runs, and the kind of professional whiplash veteran actors know too well nagged her pride. The real ruptures in her life were intimate and relentless, a marriage to producer Steve Stark that kept her tethered to the industry even as she battled health setbacks, and a cancer diagnosis that she fought privately as she continued to audition and record. Friends remember her as stoic and generous, masking pain with disciplined work. After diagnosis, Nicastro alternated between making art and enduring treatment, using studio work, voice roles such as Princess Odette in The Swan Princess and TV spots, to maintain dignity and income while illness advanced. She refused to be reduced to the sick actress, insisting her voice and craft mattered until the end. Michelle Nicastro died on November 4, 2010, at her Toluca Lake home in Los Angeles after metastatic breast cancer, leaving an estate estimated around $1 million composed of stage royalties, voiceover residuals and modest real estate. The material value of that estate belies the human cost. Colleagues recall the clarity of her musical talent and the quiet way she translated private suffering into performances that keep resurfacing in regional theater programs and animated films, a legacy equal parts beauty in the tragedy of a life truncated by illness. Phyllis Diller was born on July 17, 1917, in Lima, Ohio, and turned up as herself in Full House in 1988 at age 71, a cameo that burned bright by leaning into the outrageous, cackling stage persona that made her an icon. On screen she steals Joey's spotlight with volcanic comic force, and like much of her work that quick, outrageous exterior masked a life of sharper edges. Raised Phyllis ate a driver in a household shadowed by a father who struggled with alcoholism and financial instability. She learned early that laughter was armor. She eloped in 1939, raised multiple children, buried an infant, and carried those private wounds into a career built on self-deprecating humor and relentless touring. Her climb was both pioneering and punishing. Clubs and producers routinely underestimated a woman headliner. She endured dismissive gatekeepers and had to fashion a garish stage persona, wild hair, gaudy costumes, a cigarette holder, not simply for laughs but to survive in a male-dominated business. Scandals? She courted controversy by openly speaking about elective plastic surgery long before it was mainstream and by lampooning domestic life so ferociously that some contemporaries bristled. More consequential were the personal sacrifices, long tours that cost family time and periodic financial missteps that forced reinvention. In the wake of personal heartbreaks and a demanding schedule, Diller turned pain into prolific output, books, syndicated columns, voice acting, and a late-life pivot into painting, an artist who refused to be small. Phyllis Diller died on August 20, 2012, in Los Angeles at 95, leaving an estate widely estimated in the multimillions, commonly reported around $15 million, built from decades of stand-up, television appearances, voice work, book sales, and art. Culturally, her legacy is seismic, the first generation of female stand-ups who could headline arenas, mentor other women comics, and convert private bitterness into a public, liberating laughter that reshaped American comedy. Eddie Barth was born Edward Michael Bartholetti on September 29, 1931, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and turned up in Full House in 1987 at age 56 as Lou, the fast-talking boxing promoter whose gravelly delivery gave the episode a slice of grit. Barth's Mr. Gravel voice was both his on-screen armor and his off-screen currency. Raised in an Italian-American working-class household, Barth learned early to match his voice to the room, helping family, doing odd jobs, and cultivating a baritone that later became a lucrative trade. His career was industrious rather than meteoric, decades of guest spots, recurring television roles, and a signature run as the Miller Lite commercial announcer created steady income and a recognizable brand, but he also felt the sting of being boxed into gravelly guide parts and missing out on leads that demanded range rather than texture. Personal life was comparatively stable, married to Sally Hatta for nearly 5 decades, but Barth weathered the long, slow stresses of an actor's life, uneven work, small health scare after small health scare, and the indignity of being overlooked for center stage fame despite a voice everyone knew. After health declined, he continued to work in voiceover and guest spots until retirement. Colleagues remember him as a professional who kept hustling and mentoring younger voice actors. Eddie Barth died on May 28, 2010, at his home in Los Angeles of heart failure at age 78, leaving an estate estimated around $2 million made up of voiceover residuals, television royalties, and modest property, money that underwrites a comfortable but unflashy legacy. His real inheritance is Sonic, the rasp that sold beers, animated pets, and supporting scenes for 3 decades, a reminder that in Hollywood longevity and a single unforgettable vocal brand can outlast headline fame. Though time has passed, the laughter they gave us still echoes. The cast of Full House brought joy to millions, and even though some of them are no longer with us, their performances live on. As we remember those we've lost, we also celebrate the legacy they left behind, one that continues to entertain and connect generations. Thank you for joining us in honoring these unforgettable stars. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tributes to the legends of television history.